Ladies, super warm welcome to this premiere season of So on Fire, the show which is helping women. We are helping women around the globe to find the softer side of business, full of collaboration, kindness, compassion, and we'll talk. We'll talk about the future of leadership and future of women running their own business specifically. And today I am super excited because we have a very special guest on the show. So let me introduce to you Heather Garbutt. Hello, Heather.
Hello, Maggie. Thank you so much for having me on.
Oh, it's a pleasure. And my heart really sings when I introduce Heather because she is truly extraordinary. And we are extremely lucky to have you on the show today. You know, I'm always fascinated with the level of her expertise and ability to speak about not easy things in a very easy way. Heather is a love and relationship coach, and she's helping people to create true love, trust, and happiness in a relationship. So fasten your seatbelts. If you struggle a little bit in your romantic life while running the business that is supposed to be easy and fun. And I must say that there is a very common theme that I observe in my business practice. And we've been speaking a little bit with Heather just before going on this show, that when I work with clients on creating their six-figure business, there is always something which is connected with their love life, which is visible on different stages of business development, but it's almost always there. And what I would like to talk about, it's a lack of authentic expression, the fear of judgment, different forms of insecurity. Sometimes it's taking too much space or attention. Sometimes it's expecting getting external permission to do something, whatever, in business and equally in life, and usually weak personal boundaries. It's coming probably from like feeling general inadequacy. Sometimes it's being too old or too young. So interestingly enough, the exact same themes or very close themes, they vibrate in the romantic life when we are working on the business expansion, on the growth. And there is always some kind of, little drama or big drama sometimes in the relationship at home, which is interfering with the success in business. So from business perspective, we need to learn, how to navigate through whatever is happening around you to have a successful business with clear mind, with peace in heart. But what I observe, working more and more in having coaching and mentoring practice, is that our business kind of mirrors what we experience romantically at home with our partner. And it mirrors also how healthy this relationship is. So it seems to me like these two spheres are extremely, strongly interconnected. And I would like to dive deeper, a little deeper today, into this internal awareness of what is happening as a starting point, and also into the healing process that must happen to you so that you can run sustainable business without this, spinning or any other absurd. And at the same time, to have like a feeding, successful, sustainable, lasting, and loving, relationship, right? So, Heather, let's open up our discussion with your perspective on why so many women in business really struggle with the behaviors that I have just mentioned. Their heads are spinning around some external expectations, and they feel challenged with really with things which is really simple, like being themselves. So what's your opinion here?
Wow, something simple like being yourself. Oh my God, is that ever complicated?
Yeah.
Because we've got all the cultural norms about what a woman is expected to be, and we've all got our own take on that. We've all got our family backgrounds that dictate to us in some ways what a woman should be, either by example or by being spoken to or by something being implicit. So for me, in my family, I'm supposed to be loving and giving, put everybody else first, not really want anything else for me. It's my family background is with the woman as sacrificer and carer. So I run my own business and I struggle with charging a proper fee because really I should be doing this for love, but who's going to pay the bills? It's that sort of dynamic. And I think a lot of women struggle with that. A real lot of women struggle with that. So you've got the external expectations, and then you've got all of the internal attitudes to yourself as a consequence of that, and the sense that you've made about it. So for me, if I'm not doing all of that, then I am bad.
Right.
So it's bad to ask for something for myself. It's bad to speak up. It's bad in a way to be visible, because I also had, seen and not heard, that really old-fashioned British thing. But I think it's more pervasive, and little girls are nice. They're not thrusting, that's a masculine word. So being dynamic in the business world, no, I can't be doing that. Sometimes I think there was a double bind for me, and I'm talking about me because I think it resonates, and I hope it does, with I'm supposed to be good for absolutely everybody, save the world, but I've got to do that without being ostentatious, particularly visible, not rich, because that's not quite Christian sort of thing, comes from my background, it's not that giving person. And not having an overblown sense of myself, no pride, can't be boastful. So that way, if you look at that, I see it mirrored for so many women, and I do work with business and money and mind attitudes as well as relationships. So I see what you're saying about the mirrors. So many women get to a point where they're trying to run a business, they're keeping the household going with their other hand, but they're not really feeling worthy of being seen. Or if they are worthy of being seen, they're frightened of being seen because they're frightened of being criticized. They're not really worthy of being paid equal to men. I'm not talking about your conscious self here. Your conscious self says, of course I'm worthy. But this is the underlying stuff that just holds you back, the self-doubt, oh, can I really do that? I'm feeling really brave and a bit queasy to try and do that, so I won't. Or the part of yourself that puts things off, that comes out in this way.
I think that this is it. I mean, you just, put the finger on that. Consciously, we know it. And there is still the feeling that you cannot deny. The feeling is there. You feel unqualified, unworthy. You somehow hear your mother or maybe some other, figure from your childhood just speaking directly to you, to your ear. And then what can you do, right?
Yes. Well, there's lots you can do. So from my stance, there's There's the you that is your adult self, the thinker, the reflector. And anybody's listening to your podcast is likely to be in that camp.
Absolutely.
So that's you there. And many of us have a sort of spiritual belief. It may not be in a God, but it may be in something like source or universe. So you know, if that is you, you have that part of you. Your higher self is supported. So that is the part of you that you want to be making decisions from, that makes you rise, that makes me able to speak to you today rather than hide in the corner and think, oh my God, people are going to listen and know. They're going to know how little I know. You know, that's what happens with the other voice. So from that place, we need to listen to all of those little voices, like that one over there that's crying in the corner saying, you're so exposed, you don't want to be doing this. And we need to bring them onto our lap. We need to develop.
It's great. It's great to have voices, because people,
Yeah,
we don't want to admit that we have this, multitude of voices.
yeah,
It doesn't make us crazy, right? We have these
absolutely
full
not. Oh my goodness.
personalities inside.
No. Goodness me, no. You see, I take it for granted these
Mm.
days that everybody knows we've got voices. But you're really right. You see, I think everybody knows what I know. That's one of the core beliefs. So yes, we've all got inner voices, and they're from different ages. So I'm going over here because that's my in the womb, early life, how secure I was, how insecure I was, how I experienced school, how I experienced my parents, my siblings, my friends, how I experienced religion. All of those things are all coloring things that happened to me. So let's bring up a trauma for me, which was being stood in school around the room, and you had to answer mental arithmetic questions. And when you got one wrong, you had to sit down. And I was so anxious. I was always the one, even though I was a really clever girl and could do it all on paper. And if nobody was looking, I could do it in my head. Put me in the spotlight, no chance. If you asked me to add 2 and 2 now, I'd probably have a struggle just by being visible. Yeah. So there's little me. So I bring her onto my lap. And she said to me, Mrs. Atkinson thinks I'm no good. So I'm listening to her. I'm soothing her. Okay, but I'm with you now. So this higher self is the voice you're cultivating. I'm with you now. I'm not Mrs. Atkinson. You tell me, what did that make you believe about you? Well, Mrs. Atkinson thinks I'm no good, and she's a clever teacher, so I can't be any good. I can't be any good, and I'll never be any good at math. She said I won't. Did she say that? Well, no, but she thinks it. Oh, so let's really listen to how you're feeling. I'm feeling really upset. I'm exposed. Everybody's looking at me. I'm humiliated. I want to run and hide. I never want to have to do that again. I never want to have to stand up and speak in front of people again. And I'm never going to do it. Okay, I got you. I hear you. So you mirror back from this nice adult voice. You mirror back. I hear you, that how frightened you are and that you never want to do that again. I hear you. And what do you need from me? I just need you to know how scared I am. I need you to know. Okay, I know how scared you are. And I also know how brave you are. I also know just how clever you are. And I'm sure whatever Mrs. Atkinson thinks is not the truth. You are very clever. You are very bright. And I want you to take whatever it is you need to take from me to be able to stand up in front of people proudly and be fully yourself and show yourself, because you are an amazing child. You know, that's the truth. So that's part of what we're doing. You get to the truth.
I love it, because the way you explain it, it's about being present with whatever comes to you inside, and at the same time being this little you, a child and a parent that we never had, probably,
That's right.
and hugging the small part of you, the scared part of you, the lost part of you, giving them the confidence and courage that they can do it.
Yeah.
Beautiful, beautiful, practical as well.
Yeah, very practical.
Mm.
And you can do it. I do a meditation. It's called the Feelings and Needs Meditation. If anybody wants it, it's on my website. It's number 12 podcast, where you just go into that little bit I did there. Okay, what are you feeling? And what do you need? And mirroring back each one. So I do it every time I go to the bathroom. I just check in on myself, sit down for a minute, got a bit of privacy, close my eyes, hand on my heart. Okay, what are you feeling? Okay, I see what you're feeling. And what do you need? Right, I see what you need. I might not be able to give you that right now, but let's work on that for the future. So, what I need right now is probably a little bit of brunch, because I was in a rush this morning. So that's the bit I was thinking about. I need to eat something, but I'm going to do that in a minute when we're done. I can't do that now. I'm going to do it when we're done. And I want to just move to the other side while we're on this. Over here, this is all the little us with all the different voices that can get triggered. And over here are all the authority figures from the past, but that can also get triggered in the present. So it's as if those authority figures, the Mrs. Atkinsons, are over here. So in part, I've got your audience over here, which is part of my Mrs. Atkinsons looking at me and wondering if I'm going to be any good and thinking, is she going to fluff it this time? So I am, from this self, staring them down, saying, actually, you don't have any influence here now. The people who are here, the truth again, the people who are here, I'm going to have to look at them, sorry. The people who are here because they want to hear what I have to say. And they're here because I actually do have some knowledge and wisdom to impart. I'm not 6 now, so you can't get at me. I'm 64. I'm a psychotherapist of 40 years and a love and relationship coach with massive expertise. So you can just back off.
Beautiful, but it takes a courage, I think, to confront this authority figure, right? So how can we dive?
We do it inside. We do it inside first.
Mm.
I don't know. If you're going to a hospital and there's a doctor who has authority, you guard yourself before you go. So if you're going for a business loan, you don't go as your 6-year-old. You do the preparation. You tell her what the truth is. You tell yourself again what the truth is about them. Actually, the bank loan person is not Mrs. Atkinson. The bank loan person is interested in what I have to offer in who I am now, not what happened when I was 6.
So it means that we would love to be, we should be aware of all our personalities or personas, if you like. We can create actually supportive team out of them for any life situation. Yeah. And we can invite them to give us a hand or to add extra energy or give us the right vibe for the particular situation. Is that correct?
Yes, yes. The other thing, in finding the truth about who you are when you're little, is if you get those old beliefs peeled off like armor, because they're armor, I'm never going to do that again. It's an armor. I'm never going to be that frightened again. So I'm never going to do that again. That's an armor. So if you take that off, you've got the true you, who's very powerful, unfettered by those cross currents of energy. You're just you.
Naked by powerful.
Absolutely. And you're connected with your voice. I don't know if you heard the difference then. You're just you. I can feel it from here, not just here.
Oh, I love it. I love it. And I know that for years myself, I was whenever I was visualizing myself, I saw myself as a warrior fully armed, with a sword, with guard very high up, because that was my way of protecting myself. against the very masculine environment that I had to operate as a woman. But let's come back to the traumas, because you guided us very beautifully on what we can do, and actually what we can see inside our soul. And you use one word, which is trauma, that people don't use very often. They use trauma when something extraordinary happens in their life. Maybe they are a victim of some, violent event. But in the like a regular life, there are no traumas. People are not aware of any traumas. So can you tell a little bit more about this?
Yeah, there are traumas all the time. A trauma is something that overwhelms you.
Simply.
And it overwhelms your level of development.
Mm.
So Mrs. Atkinson was a trauma to me.
Okay.
I'm just trying to think. There's big T traumas which you can see. So if you come from a family where there's emotional unsafety, there's lots of yelling. That's really clear. You can feel that in your body. That's not safe. But you have to be careful, because that can become what you expect.
Yes.
Yeah. So if there's abuse, if there's hitting, likewise, you'll know, because the culture says, yelling and screaming is not good. Hitting is not good. Certainly sexual abuse is not good. And all of those are recognized in the culture. You'll see it in the news all the time. We know they're not good. But the subtle stuff is just so much more difficult. I think I made some notes ready for this. So let me just go through this. If you look back on your childhood, just go there for a moment. Let's think about how you were treated, because this is a way of identifying early trauma. Now, we're not into blaming your parents or anybody else, because largely, if they're not doing the active abuse, which the society knows is not good, they probably weren't educated in emotional intelligence. It's a relatively recent thing, not a regular thing back then. But let's think about it in terms of the 5 love languages. Did the people who were looking after you give you quality time? Did they give you attention, spend time with you playing and helping you learn? Did they make you feel worthy of their time and attention? So did they give you physical affection? Did they cuddle and kiss you, to show their affection and their love for you? Did they make you feel safe? Did you feel cherished, warmly protected? So did you have a home with them? So then there's words of affirmation. Did they appreciate you and praise you with kind words, letting you know that they really saw you and valued you? And did they give you gifts? Did you want to say something? I saw.
I was thinking, does it mean, out of curiosity, does it mean that your sense of love, how you see love and how you see expression of love is formed as a child? It depends how your parents treated you, and then you translate this into your adult life.
That is your norm on an unconscious level. And quite often, people who are the reflectors in life, people who stood back and looked on, can make different choices. They quite often will choose the opposite. If they become emotionally aware, spiritually aware, psychologically aware, then they can make different choices. But there will always be a sort of propensity to find that that's the norm. I was trying to think. So when I was very little, I was in hospital. So I developed a mindset of I am alone. And that's still a sort of default setting for me in myself and in my relationship and in business. I've got all sorts of support in business, but I'll go off and do it on my own. It's fail safe, just sort of, and then I'll come back and realize, oh, I've been on my own. I've been neglecting myself. I've been turning away from all of these people who could help me and struggling on my own because I'm just used to doing things on my own.
Yeah, it's so easy to return to the pattern which are so deeply rooted. But can we come back to the trauma a little bit for a
Yeah.
while, where I would like to dive is the little traumas. You mentioned about the things from the childhood, but then there are things that happen in our adult life. Interaction with a neighbor, you had a situation in the store, uncomfortable discussion with your partner, and all of a sudden you feel small, you feel inadequate. So what can we do, to unwind it, to feel like strong, confident again? What kind of awareness we need to bring to light?
I think the more you know about your past, the more power you have. So therapy or coaching, brilliant for that. But what we're looking for is to be with yourself as an adult. So when you're shocked by somebody, you notice how you're triggered and how old you feel. So if I go to a hospital now, I can get triggered because psychologically, I think somebody's going to want to stick a needle in me or do something horrible and I won't have any control. So whenever I go to hospital, I always dress my most professional self. So I know I look on an equal with the doctor. So I'm not going to be in my little girl self, in my summer sandals,
Yes.
Not going to do that. So I fortify myself to be powerful because I know if I get triggered, I won't be able to think. And that trigger is from there. So then I come back to my adult self and I will say, okay, you're triggered. How old are you feeling? Oh, you're feeling 4 years old. I got it. Yeah. Yeah. I can see you're looking at the watch chain of the doctor. Right. Okay. And what's that meaning to you right now? Oh, they're coming to get me. Oh, they're coming to get me, are they? Oh. Then I go with my adult self. That was then, and this is now. I've got you. Same again. I'm holding you. I've got you. And nobody's going to do anything to you that I don't agree with. This is big mummy Heather, with the power suit and the handbag and the high-heeled shoes. I'm in charge here, not them, and I'm looking after you. So do you see you need to know what your triggers are?
Yes, it takes kind of intimate knowledge and consciousness about all the faces that you have, all the elements that you are combined, created over time. And it seems like complex, but probably with a bit of practice, it's not so complicated.
It's straightforward. It's straightforward. And then the pieces that I was going through are indications, looking at quality time, physical affection, words of affirmation, gifts, acts of service. If you look at your childhood through those eyes, did I get all of those? Did I get the gifts that were attuned to me? Or did I get something that I didn't really want because they knew me so little? Did they do things for me that they knew that I would like? Did they provide for me, for heaven's sake? And did they provide for me in ways that fulfilled me? So I wanted to do dance lessons. Did they give me dance lessons? Did they see who I was? So all of those ways that your parents weren't attuned to you are the places that your traumas are likely to be. And you get the traumas like Mrs. Atkinson or whatever, the ridicule of school bullies.
But then it takes a lot of love and self-awareness or self-love, right? We hear a lot about the self-love. And I think that this process is really deeply rooted in the affection to yourself very healthy affection to yourself. And let's talk about self-love, how we can experience self-love in our adult life, in business, in the relationship.
Yeah. So always you look at those 5 love languages and which ones are the most important to you. For me, words of affirmation. So how I speak to myself is really important to me. And I think you can do, there's a lovely exercise you can do, which is just really good and you can do it with your children and your partner or your business partner even. I do it with my business partner and my husband.
There, you want to share with us?
Yeah, it's the simple things. Gratitude. 5 things you're grateful for about today.
Yes.
5 things you can pat yourself on the back for about today.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. And many people do like gratitude journals, but I think they are frequently concentrate on very material things. While it takes an awareness really to understand and to see the little things that happened. Yeah. Somebody smiled to you, like person you don't know, right? You were able to understand something. Really, sometimes it takes 5 minutes, 3 minutes, really, to do it.
And it can really help you shift from that place of feeling victimized and there's nothing good in my world. The other piece that goes with that is 5 things you can be grateful for another person. So for me, it would always be, I'm really grateful that Ian cooks beautiful tea. Yeah, it's really nice. That's what I can say every day. In order to be there and be in gratitude, we have to have the self-love behind it, which is to actually give yourself the time, quality time with yourself. Yeah.
And everybody's rushing right now and everybody wants instant result, right?
Yeah. If you do that, if you just, like I say, my 2 minutes on the loo, you sit down and how am I feeling? You can do your gratitude then. What am I grateful for in the conversation I just had? And there's things like, what can I learn from it? And also, but I wanted just to go back, sorry, I'm going ahead to that, giving yourself time, because how you were treated as a child may be that there wasn't quality time given to you. So that you haven't got that innately. You're still behaving like some of these authority figures taught you to treat yourself. So you have to make the structure for it. You have to do the act of service in providing yourself with the quality time.
This is a big thing, really. You were mentioning the loo time. I do similar thing while brushing my teeth. It's like 3 minutes probably. But I do the gratitude or planning what I would like to do that day. What are important things, the pillars that I would like to cover, and I'm brushing. Is it a quality time? For me, it's like a sharing, but it is a moment of focus.
Yeah. And it's a moment when you don't feel alone because you're actually with yourself.
True.
And it's so powerful because we need that support. We need that kindness in ourselves. Because if we're rushing, I mean, particularly women who have their own businesses, if somebody else told you to work the hours that you choose to work for yourself, you'd be up in arms, wouldn't you?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And so we want to have pleasure, more fun, more ease. And the moment you open your business, after the first maybe a year, then you realize that it's not fun, it's not pleasurable. You have probably more problems and more challenges that you used to have while working 9 to 5. At least that was my story, but it could be easy and it could be fun when you show yourself self-love, when you remember about gratitude, when you remember about appreciation, and when you have this deep consciousness about which you were speaking about, catching these little moments when we come back to our past and we look at the sometimes, you know, the authorities that traumatized us in the past.
Yes.
Mm.
Yes.
I love this. Would you like to add anything here about in particular, because a lot of people are talking about self-love, and they try to explain, you know, why you need it. But I remember our conversation that really struck me when you said, well, let's start with explaining what self-love, what is not expressing yourself. Sorry, I'm mumbling. Which self-love is not.
Yes. It's very powerful.
And that was something that really, you know, opened my eyes, because we don't have this awareness.
No, we don't. And it's so powerful. It's not, I tie it to the love languages because it gives us some sort of coat hanger to hang things on. It's not self-denial. It's not just going for a spa day once in a while.
Yeah, it's not massage, right?
No, that's a great expression of self-love.
Mm.
And it is part of self-care. I think people mix it up with pampering. It's not buying yourself expensive things, although that can be, again, that's part of things. Self-love is really being at the core with you. It's really listening to your feelings and needs. It's not all the peripheral things. They may come from it, although they can be ways of a sort of addiction of grasping things in place of what's really nourishing. So we can overeat, you know, overdrink, overspend, undernourish in all sorts of ways to sort of get out of the bodily feelings of anxiety and distress of feeling so deprived emotionally. So what we need to be doing is giving to ourselves emotionally, and then we can do anything. But if we're actually coming from a place of deprivation, we're miserable in ourselves, we're training the people around us that that's how we can be treated. You know, we're training our clients that's how we can be treated. If we don't ask for our payment when it's due, we train our clients that we don't care about whether we're paid or not, so they don't have to worry about paying our bill.
Yeah, that's a big one. Well, I think that we need to wrap up. That was fascinating journey through consciousness, awareness, self-love, love languages. Um, and I think that many of our viewers would like to connect with you. So if you can share where people find you and how they can connect with you, that would
Yes.
be.
Yes, I'm on Facebook just as me. I have a page, but I also just use my personal account to connect with people. Do lots of Facebook lives there along these lines.
We'll give the
Uh,
links to your Facebook page.
Thank you. My podcast is on my website, so there's lots of information there. There's a blog as well, lots of articles, and that is just heathergarbutt.com. That's nice and easy. You can find me on Instagram and LinkedIn, I think. That's everything. Oh, well, and YouTube, that's coming.
So
And
Heather is everywhere. If you need to work a little bit deeper on your traumas, little or big ones, then she's a person to connect to. Thank you very much. It was really a blast. I feel that we need to meet more. I mean, I'm hungry more for your talents. So again, thank you very much for incredible conversation. And thank you, ladies, for being here with us. Stay tuned for more. And we are seeing each other very, very soon. Bye now.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.